Good afternoon. Welcome into the Lindsay Beckham Show. Happy Wednesday, everyone. We are here live in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios, right here in good old Flora, Mississippi, the Cotton Exchange Plaza. We do have a guest today with Grant Callen, Empower CEO, Empower Mississippi. Good to have you on the show, Grant.
Lindsay, my first time on the show.
I
Excited to be
know.
here.
Can't believe that. I can't believe that. I've been doing this almost a year now, and you haven't been in here yet.
Well, I'm excited for the invitation and whatever will we talk about today?
I cannot imagine. Cannot imagine what topic we should discuss. I will say this, Grant, my morning got off to a crazy start. I don't know if you saw the news, but as I was in line to drop my children off for school this morning, I turned onto Reunion Parkway where Madison Station is, and there were cars backed up. I mean, I'm always running late,
Mm.
but I never seen that much traffic before. And I thought, oh my goodness, well, y'all are definitely going to be late today. And then I started to get texts saying, we're not accepting students. We'll get back with you soon. And then my heart just started like pound. I guess something's wrong. Something is going on. So there was a bomb threat this morning, and they had teachers running out in the woods with the kids. So thank goodness, like God really being late was a good thing this morning.
My colleague has a child at the same school, and it was in a similar situation, was running a little bit late. Thankful to be running late.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you pull up and you've already dropped off your child and you get those kind of texts and you've got to figure out how to get back with your kids in the midst of that, that's scary.
That's where my mind went. Like, what would I have been doing had I already dropped them off? I would have been so panicked trying to get to them.
But thankful everything's okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're still investigating what's going on, right?
They've cleared the building, but
Okay.
they are still trying to find out, where the call came from. But I'm just thankful that my kids didn't have to live through the traumatic experience of that. And they were talking in the back seat as I'm finding out what's going on. And they're worried about their friends. And it just, I'm on my heart. It's scary. It is a scary, scary world. And especially public education and schools, we've just seen so many incidents take place and children be hurt. And so that's the call you never ever want to get.
And schools are supposed to be a safe place.
They're supposed to be.
And it's not just public education. There have been just horrific events at private schools, schools across the country. So thankfully, praise the Lord, this was nobody was hurt this morning. Right. And maybe they'll get to the bottom of who or why someone would do this.
Yeah.
Just unimaginable, like that you'd put kids and families through this.
Right. I mean, it's got to be a very sick person to do something like that. But yeah, schools are supposed to be safe. There's supposed to be a lot of things. There's supposed to be a lot of things, Grant. And yesterday we kind of were hit with a blow. You at Empower advocate for education freedom, school choice, parental rights, much like I do. And I know that it's a topic, an issue that's very near and dear to your heart, something you've been working on for many years. How was yesterday for you? I know everybody that listens to WIB probably already knows that the bill, HB2, the Education Freedom Act, was killed in Senate committee yesterday, hours before a deadline. So how did you feel when you got that news?
I mean, my first instinct is just frustration, sadness, not so much for the political players, because this is a political fight. I'm going to go home to my kids who are in a great school where they're learning and they're thriving, and we have options. Thank the Lord. But I think about, my first thought was for these families across the state who have been organizing, who have been writing letters to the editor, who have been taken to social media, who have been asking for additional options. And the best vehicle we had this year that was going to give parents a lot of additional education options was House Bill 2. And their voices were not loud enough and they were not heard. And they were, in a sense, silenced yesterday because the Senate chose not to take up the bill. Well, I take that back. They took it up, didn't ask any questions. There was no discussion. There was no debate. It was a very short meeting. maybe the shortest committee meeting I've ever witnessed.
1 minute, 24 seconds.
1
That's
minute,
what
24
the
seconds.
replay, the YouTube is 1 minute, 24 seconds.
And they defeated it. And so I'm discouraged, but the education freedom movement is a long way from over in Mississippi. Thankfully, there are some other bills that would still advance school choice, that would give parents more options. My hope is that those will keep moving through the process. I think one of the things we saw, that while the Senate had objections to House Bill 2, and we see they defeated it yesterday, there were maybe 10 or 12 different components of House Bill 2, and many of those components found agreement in the Senate, and the Senate has already passed pieces of those. So I think there is ample opportunity to find a compromise if Senate and House leaders were willing to come to the table, think about what's in the best interest of kids and families, and try to find some common ground. So my hope is that they still will, um, but that's up to them. I do want to say, just to applaud the courage of Speaker Jason White,
Absolutely.
Chairman Robertson, Representative Jansen Owen, Representative Celeste Hurst, so many others that voted for the House package, that have championed the House package, that have these are people who want to help kids. They want to help families, and they believe public schools are needed and great, and we ought to do things to strengthen public schools. And they've put in, over the last decade, they've voted for a lot of new money to go to public education. They've gone to great lengths to see our public schools strengthened. This is not an attack on public schools.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for all of those House leaders, especially Speaker Jason White, who led this charge. And, you can see by his statement last night, he's not done.
He's not. And I feel like he really means it. He really does care about this issue. He's so passionate about it, and he's kind of made it his hill to die on, but he believes that we can do better. I believe we can do better.
Well, there's no doubt we can do better. Not just because we've seen it done in small ways in Mississippi. We have a special needs school choice program that's been very successful. We have charter schools that are successful, that are giving kids another opportunity. But when we were starting this work 15, 20 years ago, nobody anywhere in the country had broad school choice. And charter schools had just been developed, and they were starting to come online. And we were kind of a lagger in terms of charter schools, but we were the third state in the nation to pass an ESA, an education savings account. When we passed our special needs ESA in 2015, we were the third state in the nation. And we absolutely were a leader. Well, in the meantime, the rest of the country has been on a school choice revolution that has empowered parents with new options all across the country. We now have 17 states that have universal school choice. And in none of those states have we seen public education hurt. We've not seen it, contrary to all the lies that have been told. Public education has not been bankrupted.
No.
If you look at the spending data in those 17 states and most of the country, we have spent an enormous amount of new money in those states on public education.
Yeah.
So, yes, we can do better. We've seen a lot of states that are working to do better, that have given their parents options. In fact, every state around us. So, to me, it's not a matter of if, but when. And I was thinking about the line from Martin Luther King Jr., who said, the arc of the moral universe bends toward justice. It's long, but it bends towards justice. And I think it's long, but it bends towards school choice and education freedom.
Absolutely. I completely agree. One thing I love about what I get to do in my work with Moms for Liberty is talk to like-minded women and sometimes men all across the country. I interview new potential chapter chairs, and so I get to know these people that really live all over the United States of America. And I can tell you this, Grant, when I talk to these people in these states that do have universal school choice, the children and the parents are thriving with that, with those with those laws being introduced into their states. When you look at what's truly best for the children, it's helping so many. And I think a lot of people don't realize or talk about the point that if we educate each child in the way they learn the best, if they get the best education for them, for their needs, that's not only going to be great for them, but also for the entire state. It's going to cut down on crime and welfare, that money that's
Sure.
utilized throughout the state. It's going to make Mississippi stronger and greater and better. And I don't think that's something that people really consider or think
Mhm.
about all that much.
Well, I think it's connected to this just kind of fundamental idea that every single child is unique. Every child is made special, and I think that's because they are created in the image of God, and they're created with dignity and worth and value as image bearers, and if we believe that, as I know a lot of people across this state do, and a lot of people at the state capitol do, that every child has dignity, worth, and value and is precious and is, uh, if you believe that, then you ought to have policies that reflect that. And it just doesn't make sense that we would draw these arbitrary lines and say, if you live on this side of a line, you go to this school, and if you live on this side of a line, you go to this school. When we know we can do better. We can create an education system that gives parents who know those kids best the ability to match their kids with a better school. And you don't see anywhere a mass
No,
exodus of kids from public education. What you do see is the kids that are falling behind, the kids that are struggling, the ones that are maybe even chronically absent, they decide to choose, and it helps them, and it actually helps the whole system thrive.
absolutely. And no, there has not been a mass exodus of public schools, but even that misinformation being put out there, you gotta look at the bill and the language and really look at what Jason White did here, and he made sure that that wouldn't even be possible to happen. He was gonna phase this in the way
Right.
the bill was written. It wouldn't just be, "Okay, everybody gets one right away."
Correct.
It would be phased in over time, and there were guardrails in place.
Yeah.
We've watched other states do this, and we have learned from them, and they really studied it and took the things that they thought would work best here in Mississippi to make this the strongest school choice program across the country.
It really was a measured, reasonable, phased in approach that was aimed at both helping a lot of kids, but also, as sort of they say in the medical profession, first do no harm. That's what this did. This wasn't gonna do harm to anybody, but it was gonna help kids. And so when you think about the different components, the public to public piece, sometimes called portability, open enrollment, school district transfer, where for families who wanna live in one district and enroll in another district, there were all kinds of protections to say the receiving district had the freedom and the ability to dictate the terms. Do they have capacity? They could decide if they wanted to participate or not.
Absolutely. Their policy could say, "We don't accept transfers."
That's
They
exactly
had
right.
the autonomy to say that and do that, and that wasn't mentioned nearly enough. People thought the misinformation and the lies that have been put out there were, okay, kids can just go to whatever school they want to and nobody can stop them. That's not what what the bill said.
Y
That's not what
No.
was in it.
So there's guardrails for the public to public, and then there were great guardrails on the new private choice program called, the Magnolia Student Accounts, MSAs, which is part of this sort of national movement of ESAs,
Mhm,
education and savings accounts. And it had 12,500 scholarships created in year 1 with a slow phase in of 2,500 more each year.
mhm,
And that's not just in Jackson. We're talking about statewide. You have 500,000 kids in this state, approximately, and 12,500 scholarships created with this program. So it was a small, just a drop in the bucket, and half of those scholarships would have been allocated to students in public school. Half would have been allocated to students that are currently homeschooling or in private school. And
so that cuts that number in half.
that's
I mean,
right.
that
And low income kids, would have gotten at the front of the line. So there was an income preference to make sure that those who needed this most urgently got at the front of the line. So it really was a well-designed, well thought out bill that I know the speaker had spent months and months working with a lot of stakeholders to make sure they got it right. And I think they did.
I think they did too. I'm disappointed that we saw that happen yesterday, but I'm not giving up. We got to take a break. Y'all stay with us. We've got lots more to discuss. We are joined today by CEO of Empower Mississippi, Grant Callen, and we will be right back. CEO of Empower Mississippi, Grant Callen, and we will be right back.
Keep it tuned here to 103.9 WYAB.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Get ready, Louisiana! Johnny's Pizza House is turning up the heat with our Sweet the Swamp Pizza. Packed with crawfish, shrimp, a taste of crab, andouille sausage, bell peppers, onions, jalapenos, and a blend of Cajun spices, all smothered in delicious mozzarella cheese. It's the perfect bite of the bayou and the perfect meal for any Cajun crave. Try our Cajun Flint or dive into a Sweet the Swamp Pizza bowl. A taste of Louisiana flavor is waiting on you. Let's share a slice today at Johnny's Pizza House.
Pure Air Consultants offers services on your heating and cooling system. It's time to get your heating system serviced. We offer replacement, service, maintenance agreements. It's important because if you have a gas heating system, it can produce carbon monoxide. So you want to make sure you have your system serviced and cleaned to protect your family. You want to make sure your system is safe to run. You can find us on our website at mypureairconsultants.com, mypureairconsultants.com.
This Valentine's, guys, it's one stop and you're done. I'm John.
And I'm Corey Ravenstein.
At Juniker Jewelry Company, we have thousands of ways to say, I love you, without you having to say a word.
We are Mississippi's largest fine jeweler with case after case of rings, pendants, earrings, colored gemstone pieces, all at the lowest prices in the state.
Diamond studs from just $195.
Juniker sterling silver pieces start at under $250.
And our signature colored gemstone pendants starting at just $275.
Diamond pendants for under $995 and diamond tennis bracelets for under $2,000.
Maybe it's time for that diamond. Juniker Jewelry Company is Mississippi's direct diamond importer with more loose diamonds and settings than any store in the state.
Guys, it's one-stop shopping and you're done.
This year, this Valentine's, come to Juniker's.
Your one-stop Valentine store.
Juniker Jewelry Company, 1485 Highland Colony Parkway in Madison, and junikerjewelry.com, Mississippi's direct diamond importer.
When you feel like your business is drowning in paperwork and compliance issues, it's time to call Peoplease. Let Peoplease take care of the busy work so that you can save valuable time and focus on what really matters, growing your business. Peoplease is based in Ridgeland, so you're always dealing with local professionals who will actually understand your business and its needs. Join thousands of satisfied clients who trust Peoplease to simplify their employee administration. Visit peoplease.com. That's peoplease.com to learn more.
The Township Jazz Festival is on again this year, so make your plans for Saturday, April 11th to bring the family and make a day of it. This year, as always, they're keeping it free. 8 hours of phenomenal jazz talent at the Township on Highland Colony Parkway near Fusion Coffee House. Covered seating is provided, but lawn chairs and blankets are welcome. No tents, please. You can look for the info at townshipjazzfestival.com.
At Flora Animal Hospital, our team doesn't just take care of your pet's needs. We feel like it starts with the pet parents. If the pet parent is informed thoroughly and understands the situation with the animal and why certain things need to be done or certain medications need to be given, it's easier to get that done. Our website is floraanimalhospital.com. It'll take you straight to the online store where your medicine can be purchased, food can be purchased, prescription or non-prescription, and they will be shipped straight to your front door. floraanimalhospital.com.
Come together right now.
Welcome back to the Lindsay Beckham Show. We are live, the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. We are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. 601-879-0002 is the number to call in today to the station. If you have any thoughts, comments, concerns, questions, you want to tell me how much you hate me, go right ahead. I can take it. 601-879-4648 is our text line. If you have anything you would like to text in today, we are joined by Empower Mississippi CEO Grant Callen. We've been discussing, of course, education freedom, especially with the news last night that the Senate Education Committee did kill HB2, or what we know as the Education Freedom Act. I did want to read, I know you mentioned it in the first segment, the statement that our speaker, Jason White, put out last night. And I shed a few tears when I read it because I know his heart, and I know that he truly cares about this so much. So I know he was disappointed. But he said today the Senate chose to be premature of legislative deadlines and performative in their 2-minute Education Committee meeting to kill HB2. The self-proclaimed deliberative body did not deliberate. Instead of engaging in meaningful work to build on Mississippi's education gains, the Senate has chosen the route to shut down any productive pathway to put students before systems. To avoid conversation, debate, or thorough evaluation is a disservice to parents, students, and future generations of Mississippians. Senate leadership has aligned themselves with the ACLU, Southern Poverty Law Center, the Mississippi Democratic Party, and the status quo. I'm incredibly proud of my House members who were brave and courageous in their vote for HB2, unlike the impulsive and rash action shown today by the Senate. Given the way major legislation has championed by the House over the previous 2 years, we have seen this move from the deliberative body, and he put that in quotes, air quotes in the studio here, and know the playbook. We are not deterred. This issue will not go away. The Senate has anchored their support to the status quo. We are comfortable where we stand in our support from the White House, Governor Tate Reeves, most of our statewide elected officials, faith-based organizations, business leaders, the Mississippi Federation of Republican Women, and the majority of Mississippians. The House has proven we will stand up for what is best for Mississippi and especially our state's greatest asset, our children. Thought that was a brilliant statement.
Absolutely. Well said. Well spoken. He's strong, but he also speaks from the heart. And no one has stood up for kids and families, and just the realization that every kid's need options more than Speaker White. And it ain't going away. I mean, you can hear it in his voice. Like, he's not done. The governor's not done. We're not done. There is again, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And I hope we can get this done sooner than later, because every month and year that we delay, there are kids that are falling through the cracks. And when we started working on this 10 or 15 years ago, I mean, those kids have grown up. Those kids are out of school. And there are kids today, and this is a reality. There are kids in prison today that are there in part because they did not find a good education. They did not have options. They struggled. They dropped out of school. They made bad choices, and their life took a very different turn because we didn't give parents better options 10 or 15 years ago. And so every day is a great day to fix this. And, what's the old quote about what's the best time to plant a tree? Well, 100 years ago or today. Like, let's plant that tree today. Let's give kids options. And there's going to be a harvest of kids that are getting a better education, that are matched with better schools, that are thriving because they're in a setting where their unique gifts and strengths and talents can be pulled out of them. And you're going to see a harvest of that down the road. But we got to give the parents the education options, and to do that requires legislation.
Absolutely. Last session, Representative Jansen Owen had a bill that we couldn't get through. And all that bill was going to do was stop a school district from holding a child there if another school district had chosen to accept that child. And of course, there's funds involved, and whenever there's money involved, it matters. And as these children were being held hostage, basically just stuck there with no way out, that's one thing I think that we will get through. If nothing else, this session, I think that's gonna happen, that's gonna change. We're gonna remove that requirement.
I hope so. That's certainly a piece of the school choice fight, and it does matter. It's a small piece,
Mhm.
but it is a piece that matters. It's a step in the right direction, and I'm encouraged to see that there have been bills on both sides of the Capitol to do this. In fact, the Senate has already passed a bill out of committee and off the floor that would advance what you're talking about, giving parents within the public school system more choice. Now, the receiving district still has the ability to decide what it looks like, and they can opt out completely. But at least we stop the sending district from being able to hold them hostage, as you say. So, yeah, I agree. That's a point of encouragement, and I hope they get that over the finish line.
Yeah, it's funny because last year, that's all this bill would do, and we fought hard for it, didn't get it. This session started, and day 1, the Senate comes in with a bill that would do just that and passes it out of committee and passes it off the floor in the first couple of days of session. So I'm sure that was a political strategy move saying, "Hey, we'll give you this," but at least it's something.
It
I try to
is.
stay positive.
Absolutely. It's something, and it matters. There will be kids that can take advantage of that, but let's don't kid ourselves that is school choice. And
Right.
I've seen people over the last 12 to 18 hours since the Senate defeated this the Education Freedom Act saying, well, the Senate did school choice. No, the Senate did. They moved the ball out of the end zone into the 5-yard line. But there is a long way to go before they actually really give kids and families meaningful choice. And that was important and needed, but it is a tiny step in the right direction. And let's celebrate it, but let's don't make more out of it than it is.
Absolutely, and, I live in Madison County, and then even that kind of very weak version of what we would call school choice was, voted on by the Senate on the floor, and, of course, there was one Republican senator who voted no. It happens to be mine. I'm not very happy about that, but, you just gotta keep moving forward. You can't give up, especially like Speaker White said, our greatest asset is our children, and when you're fighting for them and for what they need, you just gotta keep trucking, keep pushing, keep fighting, and I think that that's his message. We're not giving up. One thing, Grant, that I have seen that really disturbs me a little bit is that we see our teachers and administration within the public school system have come out so hard against this, or the majority of them anyway. Now, I know that's because they're being fed so much misinformation. How do we change that? How do we change the narrative there?
Well, what you're seeing is the tip of the iceberg in terms of those that are connected to public education that are against this. There is a silent group of teachers that are also for this, but that are not willing to speak out publicly because they know there would be retribution. Their job would be threatened. Um, there would be repercussions. And so I have them talk to me privately. I've had them come to events and speak up and say things to me after the event and say, "I'm for you, but I can't. I
Mhm.
can't write a letter. I can't get out public in front of this." So I've had a couple of conversations with superintendents who who understand the need for parents to have school choice and see that we could go a long way towards giving them school choice without doing anything that would hurt them. They see choice and competition as good. But even those have been reticent to speak out publicly because they know they would have retribution.
Mhm.
So um I'm hesitant to paint with a broad brush and say they're all against it. I will say those forces of the status quo of the education establishment that purport to speak for them are just universally against, whether it's the trade associations, whether it's the parents campaign, um, and those organizations, if you just look at the content they're putting out, it is full of misinformation, falsehoods, and outright lies.
Mhm.
Lies about what is in the bill, lies about what the bill will do, lies about the threat it poses to our communities. And that's sad. It's a free country, so I'm thankful they have the right to put out their position as much as we do at Empower Mississippi and you do. But my hope is that lawmakers will start to see that what they're putting out is not factual. It's not evidence-based. It's fear-mongering. It's not helpful. And it's up to lawmakers to realize what they're being fed is not truth, and take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. We got to take another break, but y'all stay with us. There's so much more to discuss. I want to get the inside scoop, Grant, on Tim Tebow, what he was like to really sit down with him. I fangirled. I don't normally do that, but I was like, oh, goodness, it's Tim Tebow. That's how I felt like a little kid. Y'all stay with us. There's so much more to talk about. We are joined by Grant from Empower Mississippi. I just love everything they do over there. We're going to talk some more. We will be right back. Don't miss it. I just love everything they do over there. We're going to talk some more. We will be right back. Don't miss it.
1039 WYAB.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Get ready, Louisiana! Johnny's Pizza House is turning up the heat with our sweet the swamp pizza. Packed with crawfish, shrimp, a taste of crack, andouille sausage, bell peppers, onions, jalapenos, and a blend of Cajun spices, all smothered in delicious mozzarella cheese. It's the perfect bite of the bayou and the perfect meal for any Cajun crave. Try our Cajun Flint or dive into a sweet the swamp pizza bowl. A taste of Louisiana flavor is waiting on you. Let's share a slice today at Johnny's Pizza House.
Pure Air Consultants offers services on your heating and cooling system. It's time to get your heating system serviced. We offer replacement, service, maintenance agreements. It's important because if you have a gas heating system, it can produce carbon monoxide. So you want to make sure you have your system serviced and cleaned to protect your family. You want to make sure your system is safe to run. You can find us on our website at mypureairconsultants.com, mypureairconsultants.com.
CBS News brief. Fulton County, Georgia is asking a judge to order the return of 2020 election records that were hauled away by FBI agents last week. County Chairman Rob Pitts.
We were given no notice whatsoever. They showed up and took the 700 boxes that they wanted.
In the Arizona investigation into the apparent abduction of Savannah Guthrie's mother, CBS's Andres Gutierrez says notes that have turned up are being analyzed.
The FBI is assisting with digital analysis, including phone data, online activity, and the ransom note itself, because, again, every credible threat is being treated as urgent.
Border Czar Tom Homan cuts the federal ICE force in Minnesota by a quarter, withdrawing 700 agents.
My goal with the support of President Trump is to achieve a complete drawdown and end this surge as soon as we can.
Ryan Ruth, convicted of attempting to assassinate Donald Trump, gets life in prison. CBS News Brief. I'm Steve.
I'm speaking with Lee Bounds of Rapid Rate Mortgage. How does real estate agent Rita Jensen succeed when time is of the essence?
In today's market, it is so important to communicate and close on time. Typically have 30 days to close, get a home inspection, appraisal, title work, that kind of thing is a mortgage process. And a realtor relationship is so important. With a realtor like Rita Jensen with Remax Connection, she helps us to close on time.
RitaJensen.net.
Get ready, Jackson. On Friday, February 6th, Martin's Restaurant downtown cranks it up with Pretty Tied Up, the ultimate Guns N' Roses tribute band. Hear all the classics like Welcome to the Jungle, Sweet Child of Mine, Paradise City, and more. Played loud with full 80s rock swagger. Don't miss a night of pure Guns N' Roses energy live at Martin's Restaurant downtown in Jackson. Visit the Martin's Downtown Facebook page for ticket information.
Attention homeowners and business owners. Complete Exteriors is now Elite Roofing and Gutters. Are your roof and gutters storm ready? The folks at Elite are your local experts in storm protection. Now is the time for an inspection and for proactive solutions that ensure your roof and gutters can withstand any storm. Get up to a possible $250 rebate on a new roofing system for all active military, veterans, and retirees. Online at eliteroofer.com.
Hey, this is John with MES. That's Mississippi Energy Services. We sell, service, and install all makes and models of home and business generators. One thing that we do different than a lot of other companies is we do all the work ourselves. We don't use subcontractors. We go from the original estimate, the design, to the final product. That way we can control the quality of the job from the beginning to the end. We are online at msenergy.us.
This ad is for all the guys who work hard and they expect their truck to do the same. At RPT Commercial, we have the accessories to help you on the job site. From names like Bedrock Flatbeds, WeatherGuard Toolboxes, Nap-High Service Bodies, ARE Camper Tops, Deck Storage Solutions, and so much more. Stop by our new store on Highway 80 in Pearl and check with our expert staff and see what they can do to make the job just a little bit easier on you. At RPT Commercial, trucks live here.
Come together.
We are back here at the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi Studios. It is the Lindsay Beckham Show. I'm, of course, Lindsay Beckham, and we are joined by Grant from Empower Mississippi, CEO there. They've worked really, really hard on education freedom, but y'all work on other things as well.
We do. That's right.
You had your summit recently.
That's right.
And you're a big speaker. Let's see. We got a call coming in. See if somebody has a question for you. Hey there, you're on the air.
Hey, this is Robert.
Hey.
Is this Lindsay?
It is. Hey, Robert.
Hey, kiddo. I was watching your stuff there, and I had some comments, especially about the school stuff that I sent you and Mary Jo 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, you know, everything I do is really complicated. So here's the complication. The AFL-CIO, Randy Weingarten, was involved heavily in this, but one thing that everybody forgot to read was that they also went into the medical field. I don't remember if you remember that. Do you remember that?
I do. I do remember that.
Okay,
there was, I mean, even here in Mississippi, wasn't it Chokwe's sister
Right.
was involved in that?
Yes, and also she was over in Ukraine. So all these different things that we see, in other words, we're looking at one piece of this, but you can't win because you're fighting only one head of the Hydra.
Yeah. There's definitely lots of moving pieces.
Right, and that's where you're going to, like Senator David Blount, that's an absolute evil troll in our education system. Everything goes back to our House and Senate committees. It doesn't go to school boards. It doesn't go to this. It doesn't go to that. In other words, it's a control mechanism. And I don't know what the guest name was, but he said something that was so true. He said, I've got a lot of voices in my head, which I do too as a researcher. And what do they all do? I'm afraid of those people. I can't come forward.
Mm-hmm.
It puts this whole thing on a completely different level. The same thing is true across the board of everything I research. These people that we're talking to are either complicit or too stupid to figure out how all the pieces fit together. And that's what it's about, the pieces fitting together. Shad White is the only one, because he's attacked constantly, because he's got his finger right on the pulse. He showed us years ago $500 million a year in waste in education. That pays for a lot of muscle.
Yeah. I mean, and every single year we've just increased the amount of money the legislature gives education. And it's almost like, what is enough? How much money is enough?
Well, he listen, Shad White showed us, I mean, this is for years. This isn't a current issue. He had $500 million in education waste, which was all going to administration. and $500 million to waste across the board on our governmental issues.
Yeah, it's definitely a
That's
problem.
$100 million a year, plus another $100 million on TANF. In other words, you got a mafia that's in there running our state, and you're taking on what you think you should take on, which is a good deal. But what you don't realize, you can plug one hole, you never get ahead of it. We have to organize and get better people in there who can speak up. That your guest was the one who put this thing into the proper perspective. Nobody, even in the legislature, has got enough power to stand up to these people. They're deathly afraid of them.
Yeah, it feels that way. It definitely feels that way. Well,
No, it is that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, remember Natalie Gunnell, all the way up in Tupelo?
Mm-hmm.
They called her and threatened her. She has it on tape.
Yeah, it's you just got to keep forging ahead. That's all I know to do is to keep fighting.
And I am confident that when you look at the polling in our state, the polling tells us any way you want to ask the school choice question, it doesn't matter how you phrase it, you can get between 70 and 80% of the population are for this. And I see that when I'm out in the community, when you get outside the political bubble and you just talk to people, you show up at Rotary clubs, you show up at community events, you talk to humans, they're for this. It's just intuitive, instinctive. They think parents need more options. So our work, our task is to arouse this sleeping army of parents that are for this, that don't have a platform, that don't,
They're not active.
They're not active. They're not engaged. And I think if we do that, lawmakers will see that there's a lot more people that are for this than are against it.
Yeah,
exactly. And can I make a point about that, though? The point is that, and matter of fact, Lindsay was there when Steve Otroska came in and did it, how a bill is run. The one person that runs the whole thing is this guy White, the Speaker of the House. Doesn't matter what people want, there's only one guy who controls the bill. He can add language to it. He can take language away. He can put it in committees where it dies. He can put it in committees where it floats around like, the excrement in the punch bowl. We can't get control of this until we, the people, are organized through some alternative entity.
Yeah, they definitely sometimes forget that they work for the people and not the other way around. Well, Robert, we got to take a break. Thank you so much. I appreciate you calling in. All right, y'all stay with us. We are going to get to Tim Tebow because I can't let you leave here before doing that. We'll be right back here on The Lindsay Beckham Show. I can't let you leave here before doing that. We'll be right back here on The Lindsay Beckham Show.
.1039 WYAB.
Hello, friends and neighbors. This is David Frederick. I'm here to tell you about the latest development here at Frederick Sales and Service in Brandon. In an effort to always bring you the very best brands, I am proud to announce that Frederick Sales and Service is Central Mississippi's newest dealer for Skag zero-turn mowers and products. We have deals on one of the industry's best brands of zero-turn mowers, Skag. You can buy now and pay later because 0% financing is also available at Frederick's. Come see our inventory. We're here serving you for over 3 decades in Brandon since 1993.
Pure Air Consultants offers services on your heating and cooling system. It's time to get your heating system serviced. We offer replacement, service, maintenance agreements. It's important because if you have a gas heating system, it can produce carbon monoxide. So you want to make sure you have your system serviced and cleaned to protect your family. You want to make sure your system is safe to run. You can find us on our website at mypureairconsultants.com, mypureairconsultants.com.
If you ever been stuck on the side of the road with engine trouble or because of an accident, you know how frustrating that can be. I'm Chad Stevens of Chad Stevens Wrecker Service. We'll help take some of the stress out of this stressful situation. We've been rated by AAA as one of the top 10 towing services in the entire USA. Why? Well, just ask our customers. So keep our number in your cell phones and call us if you need us. 662-755-8645. That's Chad Stevens Wrecker Service. 662-755-8645.
Greetings. I'm Dr. Benny Tate, president of the Congregational Methodist Church denomination in Florence, Mississippi, and the pastor of Rock Springs Church in Milner, Georgia, inviting you to attend one of our services this week. Find a church near you at cm-church.org and be sure and listen every Sunday morning at 7:30 a.m. for our weekly program, Apples of Gold from Rock Springs Church, here on 103.9 WYAB.
Looking to make technology work for your business instead of the other way around? Visit brentech.ms today. From reliable network infrastructure and wireless internet to cloud or on-premise backups, Brentech has solutions that keep your business connected, secure, and running smoothly. Don't let tech headaches slow you down. Discover how Brentech can simplify and elevate your business at brentech.ms. That's brentech.ms. Brentech, technology made easy.
Get ready, Louisiana! Johnny's Pizza House is turning up the heat with our sweet the swamp pizza. Packed with crawfish, shrimp, a taste of crack, andouille sausage, bell peppers, onions, jalapenos, and a blend of Cajun spices, all smothered in delicious mozzarella cheese. It's the perfect bite of the bayou and the perfect meal for any Cajun crave. Try our Cajun flip or dive into a sweet the swamp pizza bowl. A taste of Louisiana flavor is waiting on you. Let's share a slice today at Johnny's Pizza House.
Need to ship something fast, print something now, or wrap the perfect gift? Head to the Mailroom Gluckstadt, your one-stop shop for all major shipping carriers. We pack and ship with care, offer private mailbox rentals, copy services, create and print banners, print your photos, lamination, binding, and secure document shredding. We always have a notary available, and we do gift wrapping too. Head to the Mailroom Gluckstadt across from Callaway's or online at mailroomgluckstadt.com. Stop in today and get it all done in one place.
If you want the best health care, where do you go? The Mayo Clinic. If you want the best care for your vehicle, where do you go? Mayo Auto Clinic in Raymond. Mayo Auto Clinic does foreign and domestic vehicles and diesel repair. Mayo Auto Clinic has ASE certified techs with over 25 years of experience. You can extend the life of your car or truck when you take it to Mayo Auto Clinic. For cost-effective repairs and maintenance, go to the best, Mayo Auto Clinic. Open weekdays at 7 a.m. Highway 18 in Raymond.
Come together.
Welcome back to the Lindsay Beckham Show. We are here live with Grant Callen of Empower, Mississippi. So, Grant, how was it to sit there and eat lunch with Tim Tebow?
Well, yeah. So we have an annual summit that we do every year where we bring together policymakers and community leaders and people from across the state. And this year the event was at the Westin. And yeah, we had our keynote speaker was Tim Tebow. And so he both spoke at, on the main stage and did just an amazing job. But then we had a smaller private lunch with him where I got to interview him and spend some time with him with a smaller group. And it really was fun. I was impressed with, first of all, he was just a super nice guy. Spent time with everybody, spent time talking to the wait staff and the hotel staff. And a couple of members of the television media rushed up to interview him at one point after his speech. And his team Tebow's team had already said, we're not doing interviews.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of jumped up to like block the TV staff. And Tim was like, well, hold on now. I'm not doing an interview, but I can talk to these people. And he just sort of informally, like off the record, took pictures with them and they just wanted to speak to him. So he was just very kind. His message,
Powerful.
his message of he was homeschooled. He used what is now called the Tim Tebow law, which is allowing homeschoolers to participate in public school extracurriculars like sports or band or theater. He used that in Florida. And it was great for him. And so he's a big advocate for education freedom, for parents having education options. And
he was also dyslexic.
He was dyslexic, and he shared about that. He just has a big heart, strong believer, a Christian man who thinks this, if you're a person of faith and you want every child to have education options, we shouldn't reserve a Christian education to only those who can afford it. And that's kind of where we are today, is like, Christian education in Mississippi is typically for people who can afford to pay tuition. I'm thankful there are a few outliers. My church is Redeemer Church in Jackson. We have the Redeemer School, which is an urban Christian private school where the leadership there spends a great amount of time raising money all the time so they can keep tuition low. So they raise money and fund. I think we've got about 150 students now at the Redeemer School, and most families are paying, $50 or $100 a month for their children to go there. Now, that doesn't cover the cost of the school. They raise money so they can keep. So there are places where you can get a good education and a Christian education, and it's open to all kinds of income levels, but those are few and far between. And
They are.
the revenue model doesn't really work unless we get school choice passed. So anyway, it was great time with Tim Tebow, and I think his message is one that really resonated with people across the state, but also the lawmakers that he
I
was
wish
able to meet with.
everybody could have been in that room. And I had to leave early, unfortunately, because I had to get here to do the show. But it was so hard to pull myself away because when he starts talking, you just have to listen.
Yeah.
And he's that powerful of a speaker. It's incredible to see someone who can play football that well and know all about sports, but then be able to get on a stage and almost preach.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
he was preaching.
He was preaching. And I was lucky enough to just happen to be standing there. I was talking with West Virginia's, as if their house
State senator.
State senator.
Yeah.
And she was there to speak about education freedom and what they've done in her state. And I was there standing there talking to her when he walked in. So I just happened to be lucky enough to get to meet him and see him before he went out to speak. But Nathan Sanders was standing there, our friend from Ed Choice, and he said, "What do he smell like?" I said, "Well, I wasn't sniffing him." But it was crazy to see him walk through. And like I said, I don't normally fangirl, but I mean, he's Tim Tebow.
Right.
He's
I
Tim
hear you.
Tebow.
I hear you.
And he was so down to earth, kind, and humble.
I was so glad he's here. I hope he comes back. He's certainly been, he talked about how in his state of Florida, his parents were some of that original homeschool families that fought for the Tim Tebow law. So he's been in the trenches. His family's been in the trenches of the school choice fights. And he brought a lot of that passion. And he could talk about the successes in Florida. And he said, back in the day when they were pushing for these in the mid-90s, all of the same arguments were thrown around about how this is going to kill public education. It's going to bankrupt our schools. Kids, if you give them choice, they're not going to get a better education. Parents couldn't possibly know what's in the best interest of their kids. And he's living proof that that's just not the way it works.
None of that's happened in Florida, and they're still at the very top of education. We got about 30 seconds left. Tell people how they can find you, how they can follow what's going on right now.
Yeah, the best way to go is to our website, empowerms.org. But you can also follow me on X. I'm at Grant Callen, GrantCallen. And I have a podcast that you can find at our website as well called the Empower Podcast. And we do interviews with a lot of policymakers and leaders. And
great podcast.
Had the governor on recently. So yeah, this is a movement that needs people to get engaged.
Yep.
Yesterday was not the end. It is the beginning.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Couldn't end on a better note. Thanks, Grant, for being here. All right, see y'all tomorrow. Bye.